No, no, honey, I'm good. I could have another, but I probably should not. I got somebody at
Coming to you from Forager Brewery in Rochester, our town.
And these long, long legs are damn near everywhere. Hold up now, you look good. I will not.
Welcome to Our Town, the show about Rochester. I'm Jen Koski. So after a fee increase to use Peace Plaza was implemented, organizers for Pridefest made a decision to move their event out of downtown, where it had been held since 2011. But recently, that decision has been reversed. Gale Julius joins us today to tell us more. So welcome, Gale.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Oh, I'm so glad you're here. So walk me through what happened here. You've long held it at least one day, Pridefest at Peace Plaza.
Right.
But this year, costs were too high. You're going to have to move it out.
That's right. So the cost increase this year doubled, and they also had an extra 3% increase added in, as well as a new person that we had to pay on the premises. So it was an extra $25 an hour for a person on the premises that would help us out with needs throughout the day as well.
So you're a nonprofit.
We are. We're
Right.
a 501c3, and so we couldn't afford the price that they were asking for. In the past, we'd been able to do a half-day price, and this year they were asking for a full-day price, and we weren't able to afford that. In the process of finding another spot to go to, the Wicked Moose called and said, if you need a spot, you can be here. And
Nice.
in the past, we've been at the Wicked Moose for our Thursday through Saturday events, and then moved to the Peace Plaza. Before the Peace Plaza, I think it was at Central Park, but we've always had that in a more central downtown location. But without the funds, we decided to go ahead and move to Wicked Moose.
Okay, and so you were okay with that? We'll move to Wicked Moose, or
I think there was some discussion regarding moving to Wicked Moose. I mean, some of us, my wife and I have kids, and it was something that we discussed quite a bit about whether or not we should be there. But in the end, the options were pretty limited for us. So we did choose to do it outside of Wicked Moose on the in their parking lot area, and we're moving along very well with the process. When the public got a hold of it and kind of got a little upset about it, they didn't like the idea. So what we did was we implemented a campaign to fundraise for it. You know, if you want it there, and we all do. Then it's going to take some extra cash to get it there. And so we started putting up our information about how you make a donation. Several places like the Post Bulletin and some other places here in town started asking some questions. I think MedBeat also asked some questions and got it out so that people understood that a 501c3 operates because of the help that we get from our community partners and our business partners. And we needed the extra help to get it to where it was this year.
So it really became a community push from, I mean, not even just grassroots, but different media outlets trying to help you find a way to hold it at Peace Plaza.
Yeah, I think that's true. I mean, we saw this time around a lot more help and support from community businesses than we had in the past. Post Bulletin's always been very good with us, so is MedBeat and some of the other places. They've always been very great with us. So when it came time to get the word out, they were there for us. We really appreciated that, but also had a lot of businesses that really stepped up to the call to help out in a big way too.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the event. You brought some materials here.
I did. So I brought our button here. This is our Together Equals Proud button for this year. It's on July 14th through the 17th. So I brought that for everyone to see. We sell these buttons for $5, and then for certain events, you'll get a little bit of time off, a little bit of money off of certain events. So for instance, our block party on Friday night has Incognito starting at 9 o'clock. And Incognitos are one of these, everybody wants to see Incognito.
Yes.
They're just wonderful. It costs you $10 to get in, or with the button, it'll cost you $8.
So where do you get the button?
So you can get the button from any of the Pridefest volunteers, any of the GLCS board. You can certainly send a note to the GLCS website, which I wanted to share with you as well, and that's on this flyer. So it's glcsmn.org, and then just do a /Pridefest, and you'll get to see all of the different events. You can leave a message right on there that you're looking to get a hold of buttons. I'll be out at the Honkers game tonight with some buttons as well. And then you can get the buttons, and you'll get a little bit of money off on certain events. I know that Cafe Steam also is giving, I think, $1 off of a cup of coffee if you go in through Pride Week with your button on. So,
okay, so you can go to that website, find out all the great events that are coming up, and hit some of them, right?
That's right.
Okay, well, thank you so much for coming in. I appreciate it.
Our Town is brought to you in part by the following amazing people and organizations.
Clements Subaru, proudly partners with award-winning KSMQ Public Television. Clements Subaru of Rochester. Clements' clear value promise is to make buying a car fast, fair, and simple. The University of Minnesota Rochester, an undergraduate health sciences university offering education designed to change tomorrow's healthcare. University of Minnesota Rochester, always in the heart of our community. The Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund and the citizens of Minnesota.
And the members of KSMQ Public Television. Thank you.
All right, folks, stick around. We have more coming up on Our Town. Jennifer Rogers checks out the art installations along the bike trails around town, and we get the backstory on the old post office mural. Up next, though, Our Town Culture learns more about high fashion from a top Rochester designer.
I did 25 looks of clothing for a really great photographer who did photography with silver slate, Timothy Petrowski. He called me MacGyver. He said, "You're the MacGyver of clothing." He goes, "Give Maran some paper clips and a rubber band, she'll probably make you a gown." It's just like, and she can do it in like 20 minutes. So I thought that was really cool that somebody saw that in me. Hi, I'm Maran Faget. I'm the owner at Creative Costumes and Clothing. I'm a clothing designer here in Rochester, Minnesota. Don't let the name fool you, because costumes are only about 10% of our business. We rent costumes. Of course, we'll make them for you too. But most of our business is doing design work for customers, clothing, interiors, mascots. I have a knack for people's bodies and how they stand and how they walk and what can accentuate the good parts of them. I had a sister-in-law who was a master seamstress, and one day I was at her home in Athens visiting, and she had a piece of newspaper, and she had some fabric that was a diagonal fabric, and she said, "I'm going to make you a dress." And on her marble kitchen floor, she cut out some newspaper, took some measurements, and made me a fully lined, very fitted, darted, perfectly fitting dress on diagonal fabric, satin diagonal fabric, with lining inside of it in an afternoon. And I said, I just watched her do it, and I said, I need to know how to do this. That was magic, what you just did. And she goes, "Oh, it's nothing." I said, "No, that's something. I want to do that." I loved being able to put something that was flat and looking like nothing and make it into a three-dimensional thing that is not only three-dimensional, but it moves. So when you take flat fabric and you cut it in a way and you put it on somebody and they move in it, it's just, to me, that's fascinating engineering. So that's what I fell in love with, and I decided I gotta keep doing that. Well, I just started designing clothes in 1981. And I mostly made dresses and suits for women on an island in Greece where I lived. And in 1986, the community theater contracted me to do some work for them with their sets, some set coverings. The director asked me to come back for the next play, and would I like to be the costume designer? And that was in 1986. And 30 years later, I've done over 200 shows and work with thousands, I don't even know, over 20,000 people. And I have constructed and designed, not finished totally, but because I've always had helpers too, but well over 10,000 garments in my career. A few years ago, we counted and sort of tried to count. So I have to tell you that I have forgotten more of the things that I've made than I can remember. And I see myself designing until I'm old and wobbly and until I can't think anymore. My favorite part of my job is making people feel good and look good. It's my favorite thing. It's the best payday I could ever have.
For more information about this story and other Our Town features, connect with us on Facebook, Twitter at KSMQ #OurTown, or ksmq.org/ourtown.
We were victims of the night, the chemical, physical kryptonite, helpless to the base and the fading light. Oh, we were born.
Hello there. Have you ever struggled with whether or not you should see a doctor about a new health issue? Well, there's a new search feature for that. Mayo Clinic has partnered with Google and with Harvard Medical School to allow people to do a symptom search to see if what they are experiencing is something simple, that is not life-threatening, or something that should be seen by a doctor right away. Just one more tool that people around the world can use to improve their health. So go Rochester. As promised, the news about what's next for Bio AM is in. Meet Collider. Collider is the heir apparent for the organizational mission and physical location for entrepreneurs seeking help developing their businesses in Rochester. Collider will support the random collisions that our community needs to thrive by holding events focused on startups, as well as offering educational opportunities. It will be located in the historic Conley Mass building in Discovery Square. And to give you an idea of the excitement around business startups in Rochester, 3 Olmsted County teams have advanced in the Minnesota Cup Business Competition. This year-long educational and funding competition is organized by the University of Minnesota Carlson School of Management. Olmsted County companies advancing to the semifinal round include Zerta, NanoDev Therapeutics, and JATS. Good luck to them. Finalists will be announced later this summer on August 15th. And on a completely unrelated but cool note, if you love birds, make a trip to Quarry Hill Nature Center on Sunday, July 3rd, that's this Sunday, to learn about bird banding program. Learn about bird characteristics and get hands-on experience netting, banding, and releasing birds. Information gathered from banding helps naturalists track bird movement, survival, and behavior. Program begins at 1:30 p.m. Now stay with us. Jennifer Rogers is up next. This week, she is enjoying the art installations along the bike trails in town on Our Town Walkabout.
Hi guys, I am here at Slatterly Park with Mary Ellen Landwehr.
I'm with the Rochester Arts and Cultural Collaborative, and one of our programs this year was the Art for Trails program. I'm the chair of the Art for Trails group, and we had a really good team of people working on Art for Trails. What we did was we did a call for art that we wanted to put on the bike trail in Rochester. We had 17 applications, 17 proposals for art. We gathered a group together of people who had some expertise in art, and they chose 5 artists. 4 of those artists are local, one's a regional artist, and we chose them to put art on the trail. These artists developed art for our trails and installed them early in June. Then we covered them in burlap. We covered each sculpture in burlap and unveiled them on June 4th. It was in conjunction with the Rochester Arts Center's 70th anniversary. And we are a grassroots organization, all volunteer, but what we would like to do is hand this off to an existing not-for-profit organization to continue to put public art in Rochester. That's really what we want to see, is local artists putting their own art in our community to liven the community and to make it more attractive, not only for visitors, but also for the people who live here. This is in Slattery Park. We hope the people in around Slattery Park come and make this their fish. And this neighborhood has done a lot with public art anyway. They have art on the Ave every year.
Well, thank you so much, Mary Ellen, for having us here on this bright, sunny day. I am Jennifer Rogers, your host with Our Town Walkabout.
All right, and we're getting ready for our conversation with our friend Xavier when he answers our big question.
What is a business accelerator? Does it make something go faster?
Stick around.
Our past, remembering what made us who we are today. Brought to you by the History Center of Olmsted County.
During the Great Depression, as part of the Public Works of Art projects, artists created more than 1,200 murals for U.S. post offices, including one in Rochester. In 1936, 25 artists submitted proposals for the new Rochester post office designed by Harold Crawford. Ultimately, a young Minneapolis artist named David Granahan was awarded the $2,000 commission. His proposal depicted what is thought to be Rochester's first civic event. Titled Marking Broadway, the mural shows a team of oxen dragging a log through the prairie brush to clear a path for the main street while settlers look on. Granahan painted the 3-panel mural in his studio in the Walker Art Galleries before having it shipped to Rochester for installation, which was completed in October 1937. The mural remained on the post office's west lobby wall for another 42 years, seen by thousands of visitors before the building was razed in 1976. Fortunately, the painting was saved and may still be seen in the History Center of Olmsted County.
The Mayo Clinic Business Accelerator is a partnership that engages many organizations in Rochester.
And Xavier Frigola is our very important guest who is going to bring clarity to this important economic function in Rochester. Welcome, Xavier.
Thanks for having me.
And the big question, what is a business accelerator? I was joking, it sounds like a boss that just comes in and goes, work harder, work harder.
Work faster.
Almost. You can think it's like that. We try to make startups go faster. We help them solve some of the issues that they don't know. Entrepreneurs mainly when they get themselves into creating a company. And we try to partner them with some of the resources they don't have, whether that's if it's a regulated business like the medical devices, what do they need to know, connect them with funding sources for the first initial capital raise, and give them a network of other entrepreneurs who can support them in what they do.
So any business startup in Rochester and the surrounding area maybe can come to you and say, we are starting a business, we need some resources?
I think that our strength is mainly on the healthcare, life sciences, and IT area.
Okay.
So if someone is building a company in that industry, I would say yes. But for the other sectors of the industry, probably we cannot help them that much.
What about like making a business plan and those very basic things? Is your service for folks that have gone beyond that level planning?
They come at different stages. I normally don't write business plans for them because, by the way, I'm the only formal employee of the space, so I have to buy my time doing many things. But we typically have them or partner them with, for instance, a small business development in town. But we do have templates that they can use. I'm more of a business plan reviewer than writer for them. But because I also sit on a local economic development funding source that the City of Rochester has, I'm able to give them some feedback of whether that's, if they are at the right stage for them to receive different sources of funding and where should they go for funding.
You've already had a couple of great success stories.
There have been 3 companies that have, we call those graduates. They've graduated, outgrown the space, but they keep on growing and stay in the community. Brandix, Go Route, and Imani's Life Sciences, and soon there'll be a 4th one that should graduate within the next 2 months. So those would be 4 companies that have entered the accelerator, been with us for a few years, and then outgrown the space and remain in the community.
So when you say outgrown the space, you're not just helping them, you're giving them a place to work?
Yes, we're giving them a business address, an actual place where they can come and work on their company. Our simplest offering is a desk where they can come for $100 a month, and there's about 15 people using those desks. 15. Some of them are actually companies, some of them have not incorporated, but at that point they're making the initial go, no-go decision. And then if they bring a second partner along, they get access to a small office, and then to a larger office up to 6 people. The space has also a conference room, and it's also meant to be very professional and provide some of the services they would need. Instead of them having to go find a physical location, get themselves into a 5-year lease and have to do a build out, we provide the low-cost access for them to start the company.
There are other resources, a Small Business Administration, I know about them, and we also hear from time to time about incubators or business incubators. How do you differ in your service offerings from those types of services?
We run 50-something weeks of the year as a business incubator, and we offer those basic services. And then on top of that, 4 or 5 weeks out of the year, we run an accelerator program where we bring outside companies. Most of them have been companies not from the Rochester area that have already been through another program to partner with Mayo and learn how things about the healthcare sector and industry that they may not know. We also have, and that's done in conjunction with a group called Techstars, and inside Mayo with Mayo Clinic Ventures. And then with Mayo Clinic Ventures, we run an international experience, and we've run one of those cohorts. We've run 4 of the Techstars. The international cohort that we did, we had 5 companies there was one from Canada, Netherlands, Brazil, Israel, and I'm missing the 5th one, but all international.
Wonderful.
So this isn't just a Rochester project.
It started as a Rochester project. We tried to expand the impact that we get.
Is there a residency requirement, or the business has to be here a certain length of time, that kind of thing? But they probably want to be if they're in the healthcare business. And I mean,
when we started the space, we were thinking that we'll enforce graduation dates and business can only be here for a certain amount of time. And what we're learning is that business want to stay longer, and that they're benefiting from staying longer, because healthcare businesses, it takes a while. It takes much more time than, let's say, an app business. Then you can have a concept and a product in the marketplace within weeks. Healthcare is years time frame.
And the technology would seem to me, you start a small idea in medical devices or something, and while you're working on it, the technology just changes, or boom, or something's been discovered. That has to be tough.
Well, it does impact what you do, but it's the nature of the business. Those companies understand what they're getting themselves into, an environment that will change, and they should have contingencies for that scenario.
So where does the funding come from for this group, for all these different companies that you're helping along?
Most of them, they raise their own funds. Some of them, Rochester Area Economic Development is able to put some initial seed funding through a $5 million economic development fund that we manage. But to give you some numbers of that economic development fund, we've invested in about 11 companies, short of $900,000 overall, and those companies have then went to private sources of financing and raised additional $26 million. Most of the money that these companies get is not from us. We just give them an initial seed that they turn
money
into.
And that comes from, where is that from?
From a $5 million economic development fund that comes from a half-cent tax base from the city of Rochester.
Okay, and you're able to see that small amount of seed money, and then these companies get large funding.
And we do turn away quite a few companies. I think we had 40 companies apply for the funding, and we've only funded soon to be 11.
So that has to be a hard process.
It is.
Going through and deciding who is getting the funding, and how do you manage that?
We do have a committee, about 8 or 9 people, that includes healthcare professionals, business leaders, and city officials, and We make decisions based. The company come present. There's a cycle every month. We normally review 1 to 2 companies per month, and we try to give them an answer soon, rather than dragging the process.
It's almost like I've done story on the angel investors up at the University of Minnesota, and folks come and give their ideas.
Yeah. Different sources of money comes at different stages. The Economic Development Fund probably comes early on, and after that, the angels would come in. And we're working through Ready to raise a regional angel fund that would act in parallel to the Economic Development Fund to have another source of capital. So,
exciting.
I like that term, the Angels Fund.
yeah.
All right, well, thank you so much for coming in today.
Well, thanks for having me.
Great, and that's going to do it for us today. Keep sending us your feedback. We are receiving great story ideas. We love hearing from you. The best way is our email address, rochester@ksmq.org.
See you next time on Our Town, the show about Rochester.
Stay true. I'll stay true. I'll stay singing out, oh, 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 singing out, oh, 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 singing out, oh, 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 singing out, oh, 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 I'll stay true.
You can access more information about KSMQ on Facebook and at ksmq.org.